a legitimate rape, the female body has ways to try to shut that whole thing down.
And when it comes to establishing your worldview, I was curious, what newspapers and magazines did you regularly read before you were tapped for this to stay informed and to understand the world?
I've read most of them, again, with a great appreciation for the press, for the media.
But like what one specifically, I'm curious that you...
all of them, any of them that have...
Can demonic spirits attach themselves to inanimate objects? The answer is yes.
Welcome to Twat Waffle of the Week.
So, a few stories to round out last week. First one is kind of over the top, really. So, the GQP is more upset about Rayla Campbell's language, or language usage, verbiage, however you want to phrase it, than the inaccuracies that she spoke.
You can't just sit and go, oh, that's terrible. Maybe somebody else will take care of it. Oh, that's not so nice. Well, I don't think it's nice when they're telling your 5-year-old that he can go and suck another 5-year-old's dick, do you? This is what they're doing.
In a subsequent interview, Campbell presents as evidence the graphic novel Gender Queer, a book that isn't part of any known public school curriculum in Massachusetts. As far as I know, it's not part of any curriculum anywhere in the United States, but I could be wrong, so please double check that. She's so divorced from reality, Campbell states parents' voices are being suppressed for asking what their children are being taught. The reality, families have the option to review what's in the curriculum. They have the option to opt out. And that is true for all public schools in Massachusetts. And every state has a variation of such, too. So with choosing this shock jock approach, with focusing on what many consider the vile language, Campbell's overall message, in my opinion, is lost. She has hurt her chances as well as the GQPs. This next story is just bizarre. Very concerning, but bizarre nonetheless. Now, the initial charges going back to the 90s are true. As far as, yes, this man and his wife were dragged into an investigation. What's concerning about this is that the idea that an opponent dredged a closed case, they dredged this incident from the grave. I am so reminded of the Satanic Panic quote.
Chaos has erupted in an election for Utah County Attorney after incumbent David Levitt was forced to deny QAnon-style claims that he and his wife engaged in cannibalism and ritual sex abuse of children. Local news station KUTV reports that Levitt held a press conference this week in which he lashed out at the Utah County Sheriff's Office for announcing an investigation into a child sex abuse ring that operated in Utah, Juab, and Sanpete counties between 1990 and 2010. Levitt told reporters that he and his wife had both been investigated for being part of the alleged abuse ring, but had been cleared of any wrongdoing. He then accused Utah County Sheriff Mike Smith of making the announcement is a way to hurt him politically ahead of an upcoming election.
I find it amazing that someone who is running for public office can so easily ignore all the court cases that said there was no fraud concerning the 2020 elections.
And so the people who are covering up this stolen election, I'm appalled by them. They should lose their status as good Americans, because they're not good Americans if they're involved in that. And that goes for the journalists out there. I call them propagandists now. These propagandists who refuse to cover what's happening in this election are going to try to bury this republic and bring it down. And we, the people, will not allow that to happen.
But then again, I have to consider Candace Taylor, who is now demanding a hand recount of all 159 Georgia counties, despite receiving less than 4% of the vote. Now, from my understanding, and I still have to verify this, Taylor doesn't even meet the minimum requirement to even request a recount via the Georgia election laws. So there's a slight chance this won't even see the courts. At least I hope it doesn't run into 63 cases and counting. If anything, Marjorie Taylor Greene in this video has demonstrated she has no clue as to what Christian nationalism is. She is conflating nationalism with patriotism, which leads me to ask, how does Christian nationalism do any of the things she claims? How can Christian nationalism stop school shootings? Would be my major question at the moment.
See, if we're going to label it Christian nationalism, this movement will actually be the movement that stops the school shootings. This will be the movement that stops the crime in our streets. This will be the movement that stops the sexual immorality and teaches children and brings them up in traditional families and loving homes. This will be the movement that protects kids' innocence and nurtures them into responsible adults that grow up to be successful moms and dads wanting to pursue a family of their own. This will be the movement that finally does something about our debt, because it's something that all of us should be ashamed of. It should have never happened. This will be the movement that cares about broken and lost communities, communities that are always forgotten about. Christians should never forget about those people, and we don't.
What Greene seems to forget, the United States is not a Christian nation. The separation of state and church is a uniquely American vision. Our founding fathers, aware of the centuries of persecution, of wars, and crusades, when the state aligned with church in Europe, chose to bypass such strife. Link to the original video is in the show notes. Bluntly, who the fuck cares? We're not a Christian nation.
Our story turned into, but we kind of stumbled into this platform to be an advocate for the Second Amendment because I started to see the value in it. I started seeing the value in having a right that is endowed upon me by my Creator. You know, this isn't something that the American forefathers gave us. They didn't say, hey, we're going to give you this gift of protection. No, that's from God. He wants us to be able to preserve our own lives and defend it. And they were divinely inspired when they wrote the Constitution, and they're just reiterating what they received, the revelation that they received from God. And so I just started to see the value in that.
And since we're on the subject of Lauren Boebert, while I find her despicable and as of yet have found no common ground that I would even be able to carry on a discussion with her, this man needs the book thrown at him. And hopefully he does not see the light of day anytime soon. I'm sorry. Doesn't matter how much you dislike a person, threatening to kill them is not the solution. Totally unacceptable. Quote,
authorities have arrested a man from Palm Beach County, Florida, on charges of threatening Colorado Rep. Lauren Boebert. Matthew Lee Comiskey is accused of tweeting out violent messages directed at the Western Slope Republicans, including messages that read, quote, "I got my Second Amendment tool all ready to destroy Lauren's face, hopefully in front of her kids," end quote. And also this, quote, "If I ever saw Lauren, I'd be glad to take her out and go to prison. Would be a job well done." Several of the tweets mentioned the Second Amendment. Boebert is a vocal supporter of gun rights. According to indictment, the threats came in 5 tweets posted in August and September of last year. Comiskey is charged with 5 counts of making interstate threats, 1 for each message. The charges carry a maximum penalty of 5 years each. End quote.
And our final story. I've never heard of this dude until today, and it's probably good that I haven't. He's basically a Nick Fuentes wannabe who hopes for a Fuentes presidency. To borrow from Right Wing Watch, America First activists are fascist authoritarians who don't believe in free speech, democracy, or the Constitution. The First Amendment, gay. The Constitution, gay.
I don't believe in free speech, faggot. I don't believe in free speech. I believe in free speech for people who agree with me. I don't believe in free speech for cocksuckers and losers and crybabies. I don't believe in free speech for them. I'm an authoritarian. I'm an authoritarian. Everyone knows this. I believe that our opposition should be censored. I believe that they should be punished, quite frankly. I believe that there should be, once we're in power, our opposition should be punished, You think I want free speech for homosexuals? You think I want free speech for the people who have attacked us, who have completely ignored white genocide in America? Are you kidding me? You think I want free speech for them? Absolutely not. I want them to be ostracized by society. I want abortionist? Oh, abortionist? Yeah, sorry. You're going to prison for murder. You're probably going to be, obviously you're going to face capital punishment for murder because abortion murder. We all know that. So, yeah, First Amendment, gay. Constitution, gay. I believe in redoing the entire system in our way, and we can do it politically, and we can win. I believe that. I really do. I believe that.
So, that does it for last week. I'll be gathering stories for this coming week. I already have a few. Some are doozies. With that, I bid you peace.